Thank you, Pratik ji, for warm welcome and introduction. And to all the attendees, thanks for taking time out and joining this call. I would like to apologize upfront. My throat is bad, so please bear with me in case I'm taking some breaks in between. Uh, Today's session is more to focus on the nitty-gritties of various invoice versus payments in case of export or import. We being one of the MOU partner with FIEO, we believe that one that providing a solution is critical to the ecosystem, but for the growth of the economy and overall export, it is also very critical to understand the nuances. I bring nuances from banking system, from payment system, being a regulated player in India. We work with exporters to take their inputs as well. We work aggressively with FIO also to take their help wherever regulatory push is needed. So we'll directly get into the presentation. I'll just share my screen so as to show. Some of you would be pretty much familiar and aware, with respect to challenges that you face within the overall payments ecosystem, whether it is through banks or it is through a fintech. But what are the minor nuances which you should be taking care of, which will bring in efficiency in your overall, export payment process? What are the some of the common pitfalls that should be avoided, and how you can make it more compliant? Because end of the day, it is the exporter which is living in India, right? So even if we violate some of the law, it may not bite us immediately, but it bites us later on. So how to take care of such aspects? So today's session is purely focusing on what you invoice to the customer and what you receive, what happens behind the scene, who is eating your share of the money that you are supposed to receive. Can I just ask, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So first and foremost thing, why invoice value is never equal to final credit? Because as a business, whenever you contract in a particular geography, you contract with a buyer and you decide, all of us as a business do a back end computation. Okay, that I'm gonna sell say $10,000 equivalent or $1,000 equivalent. Today's dollar rate is say 90, and I should receive 90,000 rupee. If I'm selling for say $1,000, then what should be the final realization? So accordingly, you do the backward computation. Your labor cost would be some. You will have a logistics cost and other cost, and then you see, okay, if I'm making 1%, 5%, 10%, 20% margin, then this sale is good for me. But often it has been seen that the realization is way lower, and that's when businesses realize, oh, this was a loss-making deal, not a profit-making deal for me. So that is an aspect we will try to address over here. Some of the high level aspects I'll highlight. We can get into detail. Feel free to ask questions. We surveyed before we started BRISKPE, we surveyed some thousand exporters. While we carry some of the experiences from our previous work, but we still surveyed the MSME segment. Where is the challenge? So what we realized in that survey, uh, typically 79% of the MSMEs lose approximately 1% of export value when the cost of realization exceeds the transaction cost. So this was one of the analysis of the data that came up कि 1% तो value जाता ही जाता है, कभी वो free samples में जाता है which you cannot realize because the value is so small that realization cost itself is very high as compared to product cost. Second thing that we realized, within Asia Pacific region, 80% of the trades are financed. Whether you take short-term loan from NBFCs, you take working capital loan from banks or export financing, uh, trades are required to be financed as business starts growing. So there are two specific models. One is advanced model. The customers which operate at a smaller scale, typically, less than 5 crore, 10 crore annual turnover, there we have seen that most of the payments are advance payments and then the shipments happen. So working capital pressure is not that much when the advances are coming up. However, in some of the industries where advances are being received, they also require credit, simply for the reason that product preparation timeline would be 3 to 4 months. So though you are receiving the money as advance before shipment, you still require working capital. So any slow realization Even if you are receiving advance, if your counterparty or your bank is settling in 7 to 8 days, you are incurring an extra interest cost. If you realize the payments timely, then you will not incur that much cost, because ultimately when you realize, you will make the repayments, and that should not eat up your margins. Currency friction is another aspect that we realized. Majority of the customers, they do trades in USD, Euro, GBP. Some other currencies also came up, but typically those were very small in numbers. 38% of the MSMEs said we don't do business in other currencies except USD, Euro, and GBP. Why? Because the rate realization is poor. Sometimes the solution is not available by the bank with the bank, or they are not aware if there are alternate channels. So these are some of the hard facts that we realized during our survey. Now let's get into the details of where all your payments or charges are being incurred. Broadly, if we see, these are being spent on four different categories, broader categories. One is FX markup. We all see in newspaper every day when we read in the morning, oh, today dollar crossed 90, today dollar crossed 89. It hit all-time record of 91. But are you getting that rate when you are realizing the money? So the difference between the market rate and the rate at which you are getting the conversion is FX markup, typically, that banks charge. So when you are bringing in dollar and selling dollar to the bank, you do not get that rate. You get actual dollar rate minus X. That X could be 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5, even sometimes it is even 10% in some cases. Another is bank deductions. Now, many a times you may have seen that, okay, you invoice the party for $1,000, but your bank is saying that you received 980 only, or you received 950 only. And as the volume goes up, this flat deduction starts becoming all the more prominent. You invoiced for $50,000, but realized $49,900 only. $100 is the deduction. You keep asking, even at Citibank and ICICI, my customers used to keep ask that, sir, why is there a deduction of $50, $100, $200? Who has taken this fee? And we as a banker used to say, we never took this fee. This is not our fee. Somewhere it was true, somewhere it was not true. Because there was some fee that we used to pay to the correspondent banks for receiving the money. To give you an example, a classic example, so that you understand it better. If you have a business in India, you have a business in Dubai, right? Between these two entities, you know very well how much you are sending and who is deducting how much. But if you do not have a business and you rely on a third party, that transparency never comes up. So taking an example, if ICICI Bank is receiving money from, say, Australia, and it does not have a presence in Australia, it has to rely on some or other Australian bank. Now, these are intermediary or correspondent bank, and not necessarily the bank it contracted with has a direct settlement. They may have a settlement through a US based bank. So these intermediary and correspondent banks, they put a flat charge on each transaction, irrespective of the value. Sometimes these are in the buckets. Say if you receive less than $10,000, a flat deduction of $20. If you receive between 10 to 50,000, $50 would get deducted. So this deduction happens over there. Third is platform charges. Now, some of you who may have used the fintech platforms, typically banks do not deduct the platform charge as such, but fintechs do deduct platform charges. And particularly, we have seen, and there is some practice in the market wherein people say, we do not charge anything, zero platform charge. They say zero platform charge, but they end up charging 5%, because then they are charging you on FX markup and band deduction. Sometimes some platforms say zero FX markup, but then they are putting 3% platform charge. And there are a lot of fintechs like that. Some of you who have been using different platforms to receive will realize. So people play around the word. I'm not charging you FX, but somewhere in with the asterisks, they will say you have to incur platform charge of monthly, either flat basis or transaction basis. So these are some of the nuances you should also always go through. We will get into the details of that also. One is operational leakage. Operational leakage, as usual, funds are received with the bank, but you are not notified. Your operations team has to call up multiple times, have to rework on the computations, do a lot of reconciliation, because for a single inward you are seeing 4 or 5 different charges. One is core bank charge, one is FX charge, FX markup charge, then they put up FIRA charge, and for each charge, there is a corresponding GST. Then when you go for the regularization, you end up paying something called IRM charge also. So every bank has a different way of charging you. So it is very critical and important. Just like when you get into a contract, or if you go and buy a car, right? You ask everything. How fast does it run? What is the mileage? What is the turning radius? You get into every detail because you are riding in that car and your safety is important. The same way whenever you contract with any of the party, bank or fintech, please get into all the details. Ask the questions. If you are not aware of the questions, we will talk about those questions, what you should ask today. So where does your money go? As we discussed in the previous one, invoice value would be X. There is an FX rate. There is a bank deduction. Uh, you may not be aware of bank deductions upfront, but you will experience it over a period of time. Platform charges is something you will know from day zero, and you should confirm, and then net credit. So often where MSMEs or exporters see a challenge is in terms of computation, because when you do a sale contract in a particular geography, uh, you have to compute net credit first. Then only you will be able to ascertain whether you have to sell product in $100 or $105 to take care of your margins. So FX markup, will talk about some of the terminologies that banks use, or people use, and you may have heard the short forms. What are the full forms? How to look at that? FX spread, as we simply mention, how much FX markup or FX spread somebody is charging you, is the difference between actual interbank rate and the rate provided to you by the bank. We also get a lot of queries, and I'll clarify those aspects also. So interbank rate is typically a rate which a bank takes from another bank. So today, if you realize dollars dollars in your account, and you sell it to the bank, is bank giving you rupee? No, they are also selling that dollar to someone else who is giving them rupee. So there is always a counter trade that happens at bank's terminal. So you may have heard of Bloomberg, Reuters. These are the platforms which are used by the banks typically. But practically at MSMEs level, it's not possible to use these platforms, because these platforms have an annual subscription fee itself, upwards of 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, or sometimes even crore, depending on what volumes you are taking. So Bloomberg and Reuters, we can't take. So what could be the closest representation? Google rate, XE, but do they show you actual rate? No, there is always a time lag. And you have to understand the rates are split into 4 different categories. One is your cash rate, which you use or banks give you for converting the funds today and crediting you today. Another is term rate, that you sell the dollar today, but you will get the rupee tomorrow. And third is spot. Spot is the most common used terminology in the bank. And when you deal with fintech, typically you deal with cash rate. There is always a difference. So what happens when you realize the credit and do the comparison, you always see difference. Even with BRISKPE, some of the customers have come back that, okay, you converted my rupee or my dollar at 12 o'clock. But the rate that I see on XE or Google is 1 paisa or 2 paisa difference. Why is that? Because the rate that XC and Google are showing are the spot rate. It's T plus 2 in banking terminology. T is the deal date, and 2 days later, you will get the rupee. So that's the reason cash and spot are usually different. Similarly, Tom is also different. Third, another is FX markup or mid-market rate. So FX markup is typically, what is the mid-market rate across the bank, what all deals are happening. And then IBR, what is the rate offered to you? So mid-market rate is also published by some of the players. See, you will continue to see terminologies which are being coined by market professionals to confuse you. Please be very clear. Mid-market rate is not a bank terminology. Where did mid-market rate come into the picture? So when you look at the historical rates, You see, okay, what was the rate on that particular day? So during the day, what was the rate on an average basis is published as mid-market rate. When we all travel internationally, do you think if 12 o'clock in the afternoon you swiped your credit card and 4 o'clock in the evening you swiped your credit card, the rate would have been same? No. So typically card associations, they publish a rate for the day, which is applicable for the full day. This mid-market rate terminologies came from there. So anybody telling you we charge mid-market rate and all these things, all that is bullshit. There are only two rates which you should be aware of, interbank rate and the rate that you are being charged. And within that, cash, term, and spot. These are the three categories. Forward is the fourth category, which I didn't mention earlier. If you want to contract on a forward rate with the bank that you know after 30 days you will receive the money, then you contract with the bank on the for that particular day. That is called forward rate. So these are the typical rate. How you can negotiate a better deal, at least be aware what reference or benchmark you are using. What is the rate being given by your customers, as in by your payment provider, be it fintech or bank, and compare it. Always compare it. Do not compare just FX rate, but other rates also. I spoke about GST, I spoke about IRM, I spoke about other charges also. Sometimes the consolidated rate is very different than what bank is telling you. They may be telling you that we are charging you 2 paisa only, 5 paisa only, but they might be charging 40 paisa somewhere else. They might be charging flat deduction on each inward. So you need to compare that. End of the day, it is your margin from which it is going. So that's the aspect you should be careful of. Always negotiate tires also. It's not wise that okay, your banker or your fintech did provide you a flat rate. That okay, I'll charge you 0.5%, whether you receive $50,000 or $500. Of course, $500 flat charges of the player or bank would be higher. So there you may be charged 2%. But if you're receiving $50,000, that may be 0.5%. As you go upwards, your rates could go down. So always negotiate for tire-based rate, negotiate volumes, and then tire-based rate. It works in favor of banks and you both. This is the best deal that you can do. Because what happens if you say no, you receive say $10,000, but you end up receiving $1,000 only, the partner is gonna revise the rate for you. Whenever you're getting into a contract in business also, you believe in a long-term contract, not transient or transaction specific. So establish the business contract, banking contract or fintech contract on a ground, on a strong ground, on a trust ground. That will always help you in long term. Another hidden cost, we did speak about it, but how you can actually, negotiate a better interbank rate or intermediary rate are some of the ways. When you get into the contract, right? Counterparty is making a swift payment to you, or even if they are making local payment, like the kind of solution that BRISKPE offers. We offer local accounts to the customers in overseas geography, so that it is NEFT RTGS equivalent for remitter over there, so swift cost can be avoided. Typically what happens whenever swift payment is made, there is a field called SHA, R, and BEN. This represents that who is going to bear the correspondent bank rate. If it is SHA, which means share, that means if correspondent bank or intermediary banks are going to charge $50, then 25 will be borne by the remitter, 25 will be borne by the beneficiary. If it is R, then remitter is going to bear all the charges. If it is Ben, then you are going to bear all the charges. So when you enter into the contract, it is very critical that you identify this aspect. It is absolutely your call. If your party is at your footing, your level, typically you will say, okay, we will share the cost. If your party is smaller, then you will say, no, it has to be your cost, not mine. If your party is way bigger than yourself and you want to get into that contract, you may agree, okay, I'll bear the charges. You send the money. So that's how this negotiation happens. But it is critical that you mention that in the contract. Otherwise, post receiving the payment, you will get into a scenario that you were not expecting swift charge, but it got passed on to you because it was not negotiated well at the time of signing the contract. So this remains a very important and critical aspect. And as in, I would like to tell you this why this is very critical, because on this Neither remitter has a control nor you have a control. You can only agree on share R and Ben, but you can never decide whether in a particular transaction you will be charged $10, $20, or $100. That completely depends on counterparty's bank and your bank's correspondent arrangement. So bank A in India may not have relationship with bank Y in US. So which all banks will get involved in that settlement, that you can never control until unless you deal with some of the large global banks which typically don't work with the MSMEs who have their banking arrangement everywhere, or they have their branches everywhere. So it is very critical you negotiate it upfront depending on your relationship. It helps you in ensuring your margin also, or passing on the cost to the counterparty also. uh, we will move to next. Third is other charges and operational leakages. Other charges, well, to certain extent, we covered these aspects earlier. What is the pricing structure? Is it a flat versus percentage pricing? All the banks, all the fintechs, they work with both the pricing. You have to identify which works in your favor. If your realization is always in a specific range, you can decide, okay, flat pricing will work better, or percentage pricing will work better. Or if you know that sometimes you receive $5,000, sometimes you receive $50,000, you agree on the bucketed pricing and what is the minimum fee across all the pricing. If it is a percentage pricing, you always ask for minimum fee. That, okay, if my value is so small, what is your minimum fee? So that will help you in identifying that how the rates are gonna be there when the transaction actually happens. Another is bundle pricing. This is one aspect that we discussed earlier. This happens mostly, like a lot of fintechs do not follow the practice of splitting the fee across multiple categories. Some of the historical fintechs do that, wherein platform charges, FX charges, FIRA charges, they charge separately. But new age fintech, they typically give you a bundle pricing, which may include GST, which may include FX, which may include FIRA. So you look at the pricing, okay, you agreed on FX, but is there any other charge? Be very clear with that, and ask everything. There are not more than 5 or 10 heads on which they can charge. So be very clear, understand, so that there are no surprises when you actually work with them. Extra charges with respect to amendment, recalls, compliances. This we have seen that many a times, even some of our customers, they say that, okay, uh, payment has been sent, but you are not gonna do the transaction, as in you will not be able to ship the good because goods are not ready or something like that. Then you have to return the funds to the counterparty. Then what are the typical return charges that are applicable? Usually we all negotiate with the inward charges only, but always have scenarios ready. If you return, then what is the conversion charges? Sometimes the return may happen after rupee being credited to your account. Sometimes you return when the dollar is not converted, it is there itself. So what are the return charges? What are the partner charges? What are the bank charges? If there is a Swift message which is being sent, then how the charges will track, and the tax treatment. As I said, not all the players give you clear picture with respect to how much the taxes would be, or they just say pricing. Again, we all operate in the business, so I don't have to get into detail. This is more of a business negotiation tactics you are pretty much aware of. Please give me. Typical challenges that you face at the operational end. Many a times remitter details are inconsistent or missing. This leads to the recon challenges or BRC challenges with your bank. Don't be casual with respect to purpose code as well, because the RBI guidelines with respect to EDPMS closure, FEMA compliance are very clear. If you have realized money before shipping the goods, it has to be advance. If you have realized money after shipping the goods, it has to be post shipment charges. If you do not put that correctly, and somebody from your accounts team or from your end believe that, okay, let the funds come, we will address these issues later on. No, these will further lead to the cost, because when you go for purpose or document regularization, bank will say, sorry, You are giving me a shipping bill which is of 1st April, and you realize the funds on 15th April, saying that this is advance. How can it be? If it is advance, how did you ship goods prior to the realization date? So go and get the purpose code changed. You may have to incur charges. You will unnecessarily lose the manpower, man hours on that. You will have to, again go through the manual reconciliation challenges. So why to get into that? Be very clear with these aspects upfront. This will help you. Third is stuck funds. Always be very clear. And in business, we do understand there are scenarios wherein, the remitter is not clear with respect to who has sent the money. And I'll highlight some of the scenarios for you to understand it better. I'll take example of Pratik ji and myself to, I take that liberty. If Pratik ji is running a business in US and I am the seller, we do the contract. The contract is in the name of Pratik Navle, or contract is in the name of a company that Mr. Pratik Navle runs. And finally, payment comes from other account. Either he is using a current account in which business name is different. See, for him, it may be simpler in his geography that, okay, whether he's contracting in company's name, sending money from his saving account, or he's contracting in individual name, sending money from company account. But think from India perspective, you contracted with someone else. Your shipping bill contains name of the party with which you contracted, but payment came from someone else. How will you justify the Indian regulator, customs authority, or RBI that why this mismatch happened? So again, you have to create a paper trail unnecessarily, go back to Pratik ji, amend the agreement, but you can't change the shipping bill, right? Once it is generated. So in service, that may happen. You may amend the contract to make things look proper and all these things, which are not appreciated by financial institution. They always feel that you are trying to, just cover up some of the things. So it's very clear. Even when you contract, be clear with the party who is going to send the money. If they say that, okay, we have 5 companies and one of the company is treasury company, they send the money, have that mentioned in the agreement itself that okay, you are signing an agreement with ABC Limited, you will send the goods to ABC Limited, but payment will be realized from XYZ Limited. Put it in the agreement to avoid any subsequent challenges, because these are the challenges which will eat up a lot of your bandwidth unnecessarily, manpower, and you will be hassled in that. Rather than that, you use your productive time in doing your business, which to grow the business. That's more critical. And because of which, what happens? Sometimes funds get stuck for ages, 15 days, 30 days. Why to let that happen? Because bank or fintech is sitting on that. Compliance is not clear so far. So these are the things you should be very careful in operational processes. Again, basic calculation that we have included. What is the invoice value? What is the typical FX rate that is being charged by the bank or fintech? What is the rate that is offered to you? What are the bank or intermediary deduction? Here we have taken $10 because typically on $10,000, nobody charges more than $10 to $20. But as I said, you can never trust on this particular aspect. It can go upwards of $20 to $50 also, because you don't control the routing of the funds. That's where fintechs are trying to innovate like us, that we give you local collection. In worst case, it will be $5. If if your remitter is using some fintech, how much they will charge? It's a local payment, $1, $2, $5, not beyond that. But in Swift, you can't control that. Similarly, bank and intermediary deduction. Sorry, I spoke about that. Share, R, and Ben. Now, this is the Swift cost typically. We have taken $20 over here. We have rarely seen some of the geographies charging $30 or some of the fintechs charging $30 to $40 for Swift. But majority of the accepted geographies charge $20 only as a cost. So that's what we have included over here. Okay, so net credit amount would be 8,87,300, not 90,000. The example that I took earlier. So do your computation with all the cost. Again, here I have not included GST. Well, you can claim back GST. There could be IRM charges, which you may have to incur with your AD1 bank. Many a times I have seen some of the large private sector bank, they don't mention about IRM charges. When you go with the shipping bill and payment certificate, they tell you there is a IRM charge of 0.2%. That comes as a surprise. They give you FX rate of 0.1. but they're charging you 0.2% on document. Or it may so happen that you are getting the money from your remitter for 10 different invoices, but for shipping bill, there are 10 shipping bills and you are getting that closed. So innovations are happening. FIEO, as regulatory bodies, everybody is working towards simplifying all these things, but that will take time, over a period of time. You may have seen a recent circular from RBI as well, that up to 10 lakhs on the self-declaration basis, the shipping bills can be closed. But how many banks have gone live with that? So that is an area to be aware of. What is your shipping bill cost? What is your regularization cost? What is your logistic cost? And you bake in everything very clearly. Now, we spoke about the problems so far, and what could be some of the fixes? Some of you might already be doing it. For those who are not doing, it's simple. Uh, you can compare the prices with respect to FX. You compare with various sources. It's not necessary that your partner is always wrong, your bank is always wrong. Understand what rate they quoted you and what rate you are referring. Do a fair comparison. Benchmark at the same timestamp. Many times, what happens, your conversion maybe by the fintech is done at 10 o'clock, and you are looking at rate at 12 o'clock. The morning 1 hour and evening 1 hour of the FX conversion, because market opening and market closing is very volatile. It may so happen that rates are not matching, because during the day rates are stable if there is no external phenomena like UK Fed rate cards or any policy announcement or anything. But it happens. Second thing, this is out of experience. Everybody is free to decide their own, business process. Over a period of longer time, rupee is depreciating. So your value of export realization will always grow. Uh, if you try to time the market a lot, it may go into the other direction also. And this typically happens whenever rates are not being favorable. So we saw a spurt, 81 to 84. There was a sudden moment, 84 to 87. Then right now we are seeing 90. So many a times this thought comes, okay, what is wrong in earning 1 or 2 rupees extra if we just wait for conversion a day or two? It may so happen that tomorrow there is a RBI activity which is done to control the rate fall. So you may have got 91 yesterday, but today you are getting 90 only. So in export, as a general principle, it is seen, keep converting on a regular basis, because when you contracted, the dollar rate was definitely not worse than today, or the rupee conversion rate. So when you contract, maybe the dollar to rupee was 84. When you realize it would be slightly higher. Out of 360 days, if you do 365 contracts, it is very unlikely that you will have an issue of negative rate in more than 10 to 20 instances out of 365, because the rupee control, dollar control, FX rate control mechanisms are not so frequent. So as an exporter, you have a natural hedge. Many a times your banker may come and tell you, why don't you hedge your, why do you need to hedge? You don't need to hedge your export. And if you are importing something, you have a natural hedge. Even if you contracted for import at 84 and you have to pay dollars to your party at 87, and if you are doing export, don't get into hedging. Hedging, until and unless your treasury pool is so big that treasury is giving you sizable revenue or good revenue than your core business, don't get into hedging route so easily. That's a personal advice as an ex-banker. If your turnover is less than 50 crore, 100 crore in a year, be clear, use natural hedge, keep converting, keep realizing the money. You will never run into the losses. And many a times, exporters, business owners get into that temptation. What is wrong in doing this hedging and all? Do it. When you are able to earn more than 20% of your business revenue from hedging, when you see you have reached to that level, do it. It is always helpful. Then you should be spending money also over there. It's just like, that interbank trading, oh, sorry, intraday trading that we do on share market. One day you made benefit profit, second day you made profit, and then you realize that, oh, third day I lost the money. And it is eating up a lot of your mental bandwidth also, because throughout the day you are seeing that, okay, are the stock rates are going up or down. It's very clear. Our core business is payment. Your core business is export. Let's focus on that. Everything else can be done when it becomes sizable. So that's a suggestion. Again, your call how to do that. Some of you might be very expert. Some of the people who are expert in stock market trading, they earn from there. They don't do regular business. Some of the guys who are very expert in treasury, they earn from derivatives and all these things. So make that your core business rather than thinking of that you will make some revenues over there. Yeah, Ayush, you have a question.
So, Induji, will take all the questions after your session.
Okay.
Okay. So one by
Sure.
one, we'll get the discussions. Okay.
Sure. Perfect. And banking route, again, you ask your counterparty which bank they use for the remittance, and that's how you can identify is their bank is a smaller tier bank, large tier bank, and how the payments will happen. And then operations. Just a moment, I'm trying to fix this floating screen. Yeah. Standardize invoice and remitter details across transactions. These are very simple thing. You can have pre-validated purpose codes before submission. You can avoid a lot of operations error and automate reconciliation to eliminate the manual delays. There are free tools available. There are paid tools available based on your business scale and requirement. You can actually identify which tool is bad. Sometimes some of the tools we also provide. Fintechs also provide some of the tools. So you decide as per your scale if fintech tool is good for you or if there is any other tool which is good for you. And maintain document hygiene to avoid rejections. See, many a times it so happens, we think that as this happens in business, but we as a payments institution or banks, they are also responsible and answerable to regulator to maintain some hygiene at their end. So they will ask certain documents from you. It's better to keep that in your practice, that you will ask for those documents. You will keep the contracts ready. You will keep the invoice ready. Not in all transactions it is asked. It is asked in certain transactions wherever they see a challenge from regulatory perspective. Again, we have reached to a page wherein we are talking about our solution, how BRISKPE makes your margin better. Okay, some of the aspects that we spoke about, we have given an app-based solution. So when we started, we realized that businesses need to focus more on their core business and spend less time on follow-up, reconciliation, and manual entries. So we are the only payments company which launched with proper application. So just like Google Pay and Phone Pay and your bank app, you can track your cross-border payment. The moment you get a notification on your phone, you get to know that okay, your payment is realized, then you can plan your payouts accordingly. So you don't have to be dependent on the laptop, whether you are on a go, you are in a warehouse, or wherever you have that visibility available with you. We offer 7 virtual accounts internationally so that your counterparty can make the local payments. That avoids a lot of SWIFT charges, and we settle more than 80% of the transaction in less than 18 hours to exporter's current account. We provide the same day FIRA. While we call it same day, it is technically available with you in less than 5 minutes. So that digital repository of that is also available. You can use the same when audit comes, or even if you want to do a daily recon, if you are on a shared CFO or shared accountant kind of model, you can keep sending it on a daily basis so that month end, quarter end, and year end, you don't have to worry about a lot of recon aspects. Interbank interbank FX rate, as we mentioned, banks charge us for FX markup. But what we have done, we show the exporter only interbank rate, that this is the interbank rate and our fee is this much, which includes GST, which includes correspondent bank fee or any other charge. So it's a single bundled pricing for you and you don't see any other charge over and above that. Pricing wise, we have multiple buckets. We have percentage wise pricing, flat bucket wise pricing. If you are receiving less than $2,000, flat pricing is $16. If you are receiving anywhere between 2,000 to 10,000, flat pricing is $25. And if you are receiving more than 10,000, pricing is 0.25. And based on the monthly volume number of transaction, you can always discuss custom pricing with our team. They will be more than happy to discuss with you. Multiple payment modes that we offer is account to account transaction, international card based collection. You can integrate your PayPal account also with us so that you get to choose which payment mode you want to use. We provide instant EFIRA and For EDPMS, you don't need to go to your bank. This is live with one of the bank right now. You submit the document to us and we close the bill. That happens with HDFC today. So you just need to have a current account, whether your AD1 bank is SBI, BOB, or anybody. But if you have an HDFC account, you can submit the document to us and we close the documents. Just secure and compliant. As Pratik ji mentioned, we are India specific, we are DPDA ready, we have GDPR compliance, we have SOC 2 compliance. So be rest assured your data is in good hands. It's not being used by some of the Chinese companies or US companies to make good use of that data. So it's pretty much in country complying with India specific data control guidelines. Fast and cost effective, instant global payments. You receive the funds directly into your account and manage payments on the go wherever you are. That's some of the advantage. Uh, this is just a comparison for the team has prepared to see that if you are receiving the funds with BRISKPE, then how much do you save on a simple transaction of $10,000? It ranges between 9,000 to 70,000 rupees. I think that's it. So we are done with the discussion. Happy to take questions, Pratik ji. I think we finished 30 minutes, 15 minutes before our stated time.
Thank you, Induji, for giving us the wonderful information about quickly about how we can save our money. Uh, Before going to the questions, Induji would request you to also can you tell us to our participants that on which platforms BRICSPay is currently allowing a payments like Amazon or any other platforms you have the already the integrations, so they can explore that option, and how services exporters can also get the benefit of this platform. If you can just throw some lights, then we will go to the questions.
Thanks for giving me that opportunity, Pratik ji. I thought we have to speak more about the overall solution, not about our business. So thanks for giving me that opportunity. So BriskPay, cross-border payments company, works or facilitates the B2B payments. Whether you are having a contract directly with your customers, you can receive the payments through us. We offer virtual accounts. We are listed on Amazon as a PSP. Very few PSPs from India are listed, and we specifically thank FIEO for the same, as Amazon was not allowing any Indian company to get registered or listed on their marketplace, global marketplace. And we got a very good help from FIO to get ourselves registered. We have also done exclusive tie-up with Joom, which is CIS and Russia-based marketplace. So if you work with us, you can also get listed directly. Our team only facilitates to get yourself listed on the Joom. That is an incremental business opportunity. We are working right now. We are not listed on eBay, Walmart, and Alibaba, but that is going on. So very soon you will have that also available. If you want to collect the payment through card, we today offer that through PayU and PayPal that is integrated into our system. They do require a separate sign up for you, but once you have done completed the KYC and they have onboarded you, offered you the solution, you can integrate that with our platform so that you don't have to go and register at different platforms. We help close the EDPMS with HDFC Bank, and exporters can submit the documents with us. Again, the recent 10 lakh self-declaration closure piece is not live with HDFC so far, but we are expecting that to go live within 1 or 2 months' time. Otherwise, the single bill specific submissions can continue to happen. We help agro companies as on date. We help handloom, garments, sports exporters, and a lot of freelancers and service platforms to receive the funds to us. Some of you may also be having overseas companies, and you may be required to, make a lot of payments to multiple freelancers or contractors. So you register with us again and do a bulk transfer as well, rather than, making 5 or 6 different payments to different freelancers. For example, if you have a Dubai-based entity or US-based entity, India entity is cost plus, but you have other contractors or vendors who are receiving payment, you can do one single bulk transfer, reduce your cost, reduce your recon hassles, and we split the payment based on your instruction and settle to the parties. So that's the solution. In case of service, again, freelancers, whether they are giving consulting, they are developing website, cloud development, as in cloud maintenance, the website development, any sort of services that you are giving, you can receive the payments through us. The only thing is, all our payments are restricted to business category. We do not facilitate individual to individual payments. As long as it underlying is business, we can facilitate the same. Pretty soon, we are going to launch our import payouts as well. But RBI has made a different guideline for import, wherein we, as BRISKPE, can onboard any overseas seller and allow them to open a rupee account in India. So technically, you don't need to convert rupee to dollar and send. If you are able to convince your counterparty that okay, you can get a rupee account in India, we can help facilitate that flow as well. So that's about us. And yeah, we have been in the business for 3 years. We were fortunate enough to be shortlisted by Honorable Prime Minister during last financial year, last FinTech Fest, as the only FinTech company from payments who was actually enabling the goal of $2 trillion export. And we were blessed by them. And similarly, this year, we are fortunate to be part of DF Department of Financial Services delegation to represent India payments to Japan and UK. So we are working on enabling newer corridors, newer segments for the exporters. Uh, End of the day, you grow, we have to grow together. That's the objective. Our objective is not like some of the US and China-based company that, okay, I'll not give you anything. Uh, I just want to earn from you. All of us are in business, and growth together is the underlying key. That's about us, Pratikji.
Thank you, Induji. Now I will ask Mr. Ayush to unmute yourself and ask you a question. Other participants are requested, if you have any question, please raise your hand so we can allow you one by one.
Indunath sir, thank you for this session and informative details. I'm audible clear, right? Just to be sure.
Yes,
Yes.
you're audible.
Sir, I have two questions. First question is that to give you a brief, our company is based in India. We import some raw material from Southeast Asia, and then we export material to North America, for example. Right? Now, our customers, they want to make the payment to us on a fixed foreign exchange rate, whereby they say ki, acha, so in all the payments received in October, November, December quarter, the foreign exchange rate will be as per July, August, September, or only September, 1 month average, right? How may we do that? And consequently, when we make the payment to our raw material supplier, who is based in China, for example, we will do that in dollars and we will receive in dollars also. How can we find a way that when we make the payment, the foreign exchange is on an average basis? And why this is very important is because in just the difference of foreign exchange, we can lose like 50 lakhs or 1 CR in 1 quarter or a month.
Correct.
Is there any way we can do an average of this?
Yes. So a couple of questions that I want to ask. You said that your customer, as in Latin America, where you are selling, you are receiving on the average basis, right? But your party seller that whom you have to pay is not selling you, as in your contract is not on average basis, correct?
No. So the Latin American company, let's say they pay me $1,000,
Right.
right? If that $1,000 came in October, then it was 89, let's say, for example. But in December, it is 91. But I would rather have an average of 89 and 91 into 90, as that helps me plan my the final price that I give to customer, and of course then also plan the price that I will pay to my raw material supplier also.
See, apparently, the way it looks to me, we can always discuss offline in more detail. The way I believe average pricing comes into the picture when you have got into a long-term contract with your customer and you have negotiated the rates in rupee, because they are aware of that you are gonna incur this much rupee and this much should be your margin. The ideal way to do it is locking in the similar contract with your raw material supplier as well. Otherwise, you will continue to bleed. Alternatively, you have to do a forward contract with your bank. If the payment schedules are fixed and every quarter on a specific day or every month on a specific day you are going to get the money, get into a forward contract. Alternatively, by paying slightly higher premium, you can get into an options contract also with your bank. Because in option, you will be able to cancel if the rates are not favorable at that point of time. So you may have to explore that particularly with your buyer. Otherwise, you will continue to, have a leaking bucket on your side. Uh, we can discuss in detail. There could be some currency specific, aspects which can be taken care of, or you do a foreign currency contract only with them. Like we don't have a LATAM based collection as of now, but maybe you can tell them that you don't have to do SWIFT, you give me dollar only. A simplest would be you get into a dollar contract rather than rupee to conversion contract. Otherwise, you will continue to have more and more OPEX cost or maybe the banking or financial conversion cost on that business.
Right, right, right. Fair enough. I will connect with you to explore this. My
Saurabh
second,
from my team is also here. Saurabh
okay,
looked at the product. The other team
perfect.
members also will Saurabh and I can actually get into that discussion with you. Yeah.
Perfect. A second question that I have, sir, is in this situation, right, where we're receiving US dollars from our customer, and we have to make raw material China supply in dollars as well. Is there any way that we never convert the US dollars to Indian rupee and
Yes.
then Indian rupee back to dollar?
Yes, yes. So for import, particularly, there are two guidelines. You can open a EFC account if you are present in mainland. If you are situated in SEZ location, the Indian entity, then you can open an FCY account with your banker. And what you can do, you can keep the funds over there. RBI guidelines specifically, ask banks to auto convert or force convert the foreign currency within 60 days of receipt. But if you have an import obligation against the same, you can always identify and tell your bank that, say, I have received $10,000, of which $6,000 is my import obligation, whether it is in 3 months, 6 months, whatever, or even if you have taken a foreign currency loan, you can get that fund blocked. Then your bank will only force convert the remaining 4,000. So you don't have to convert it again and again. So you can do that by opening EFC account.
Yes, and are the banks like, is this a very hassle process, an
No, no,
EFC
very
account?
simple. Very simple.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Perfect. I think this in itself will also
Just
save
need
us a
to
lot
choose the
of.
right banker.
Okay. So, I mean, of course, no recommendations, but since you're an expert in this industry, and I think it will help the entire
It's not
people here.
it's not difficult. Before you open an account, please understand from the bank what is the process very clearly, that at the time of earmarking, what all documents you will need. You will definitely find a bank which will say you just have to give us a mail confirmation and some supporting document. We'll do that. Go with that bank. Otherwise, you will keep preparing, documents on the letterhead, declarations, and a number of things.
And if you could share, or if Mr. Saurabh could share the contact and email
So
ID,
Mr.
we can.
Ayush, his contact details is shared in chat box. After this event also, we will share their contact details with all the participants.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Now, thank you, Mr. Ayush. I would like to call Mr. Kanchad. Okay. I would like to call Mr. Ramesh. Mr.
Bodke.
Ramesh, kindly unmute yourself. Yeah. Mr. Ramesh Bodke, are you there? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Please,
sir.
please go ahead.
Yes.
Sir, I have two, three questions regarding IDPNS and EDBNS. Sir, I'm audible now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Sir, in our case, there is a lot of bill of entry in IDPMS or in export EDPMS from small value, $10, $5, $50 is still open and it is old. So we are not able to trace the document, or sometimes it is get through courier.
Hmm.
So we are not able to provide the document and still it is open. So what
Hmm.
is the rule to close this whole bill of entry in very small value, $5, $10.
See, EDPMS and bill of entry will have different treatments. One of the thing is if we talk about export and you have a smaller value payments, you have to take a business call. I can only advise. Right or wrong is something you have to discuss with your professional consultant. What you can do if these are small value payments and you have realized it. Okay, so if you have realized it, what you can do, you can write to your banker that I want to write this off, and you surrender all the export incentive received on that payment. So you have to do two things: surrender the export incentive you received. You have to make adjustment to your financials also accordingly, show it as your domestic receipt, and write that off. Once for all, you clear all the entry. आपका एक ही loss होगा that you will have to surrender the export incentive if realized. Second is you depending on the amount, there is a guideline also which has come up recently. Up to 10 lakh rupees you can do a self declaration. Not all the banks have rolled out the process. RBI has released this guideline recently. It is on the self declaration basis. You don't have to provide any other proof. You can just say I realized and get going. So these are the two routes available which are simple for you. On import side, we may have to discuss more in detail whether the payment has been made, what is the nature of payment, because import side again guidelines are slightly strict, because you have sent the foreign currency, and mm, typically, from regulator perspective, if you see, receiving foreign currency is good for country, sending foreign currency out is not good for country. So regulations are a bit stricter. On import, we have to discuss case to case basis what is the scenario. Old bill of entries are something you are not able to find, right?
Yes.
There also
The
a
value is
can be
value is around $5 to $10 only, sir. That's obviously that is a sample
I
case.
think if it is all that, you just write a condonation letter to your AD1 bank. They will represent it to RBI. If it is in their power, they will write it off. Uh, Otherwise, they will write to RBI for condonation that okay, we request for condonation. We made this mistake. Let us write this off. Going forward, we will not make these mistakes. That is the simplest one. 3 से 6 महीने में all the process would be closed. So that is
Okay.
the
In,
simplest one.
in case of export, we not get the realized. We are not receiving any money.
And
Only
then
for
you write
sample
it
with
off. Then you just write it off. It's simple. Unrealizable, write it off.
okay. Sir. Then second, sir,
Again, in case of write-off, you have to see there is a percentage write-off of your last 3 years export which is allowed. So you just have to see
okay.
in last years how much export you have done, what is the average export, and you write that off. If it is well within permissible limit, you can write that off. That's very simple. You just get a CA certificate that you are writing off from your financial, and submit it to the bank. That is within the bank. If it goes beyond that limit, then they need to seek RBI approval, and they will send the application on your behalf to RBI. You cannot represent to RBI directly. You have to go through your authorized dealer only, and then they may charge you a fee for making that application, 5,000, 10,000, 2,000, depending on how good your relationship is with your bank, and they will facilitate the process.
One more thing, sir. How much tolerance is allowed, sir? If my invoice is $1 lakh USD, I received 50 or $100 less, then
That
it
is
is
absolutely up to 5% or $500. Both for the threshold. I am sorry, I have not refreshed my regulatory understanding after leaving Citibank because we focused on payments. We can help you with that. $500 and 5% was something which was allowed. That's not an issue.
okay. Thank you, sir. And one more. Uh, can we receive the money other than AD code bank, other banks,
You can receive.
for instance?
Absolutely.
Then and how we have to close then one transaction? We have to submit document in our AD bank, or we have to submit in the receiving bank, the money which we have
So,
received.
no, so I'll give you an example. Think of that we are your bank and you are using our solution. If you are handling the documents directly and you are dispatching the documents to your counterparty, you can give the foreign currency accounts that we provided to you. We settle in your AD1 bank's current account only or any other current account that you hold. We provide you an FIRC document. FIRA document, foreign inward remittance advice, which mentions about remitter's name, the currency you received, the currency which got settled, and in which account it got settled, along with your shipping document, invoice, commercial invoice, and any other document that you submit to your bank. Attach this FIRC. They will create an IRM against this FIRC, and they will lodge the documents for you. If your banker happens to be HDFC Bank, you can submit that with us also. Even if your AD1 bank is, for example, SBI, BOB, or anybody, but you have an HDFC current account, you can submit it to us.
Pardon, sir, last sentence I am not able to audible.
Even if your AD1 bank with customs is maintained as ICICI, Bank of Baroda, SBI, anybody, but you have a current account with HDFC, in that case also you can submit the documents to us. HDFC will do the AD transfer and ADPM and close the same.
Okay, means we have to submit the document in AD bank only, even though money received in other bank.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Documents will go to one of the AD only, whether they are registered with custom or not, it will go to AD only eventually.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Ramesh. Now I would like to call Mr. Kishore. Kindly unmute yourself. Mr. Kishore.
Hello. Good morning, sir. It was pleasure to hear from you. So, sir, I'm a new exporter. I want to understand, like, if I'm using the BRISKPE, how is it working? Like, my bank will be, suppose my bank is HDFC, so my bank will remain HDFC, but the BRISKPE will act as a payment receiver for me.
Yes. So BRISKPE will act as a payment aggregator, which is permissible by regulator. And
Yes.
BRISKPE will give you an international collection account in your name in overseas geography. So when you raise an invoice to the party, you mention this account detail and you receive the payment in this account. And within 24 hours, it gets credited to your current account in India. We provide you FIRC. Now, if you are in service industry, there is no regularization requirement. But if you are in software or you are dealing with goods,
I'm
you have,
dealing with goods.
then you have to submit the shipping bill documents to the bank for regularization.
Correct.
Sorry. Give me. Then you have to submit these documents to the bank along with FIRC that I mentioned to the earlier person just now. So then it can be done in a straightforward manner. And if you happen to deal with HDFC only, you don't have to do anything with HDFC. You can just register themselves with customs as AD, and rest all happens through our platform.
Okay, so in case if I want to know more about how we can integrate or customize, we can have a call or
Absolutely. Where are you based out of?
In Delhi only, sir.
Delhi only. So the contact details that Saurabh shared in the group, you can just write on that, and my Delhi contact person will connect with you immediately.
Sure. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Mahesh.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. This is Mahesh Chandra from Visakhapatnam.
Hi, good afternoon.
Sir, my doubt is, as you said, the payment received through Swift, on our charges basis, the all bank charges will be paid by the buyer, and I will get the full invoice value. Even though my bank, importer's bank, will charge any nominal charges or any extra charges, sir?
See, typically your bank may still charge you over and above, but typically banks have a return contract. So again, taking an example, if the Bank of America is the remitter bank and Citibank India is your banker, for example, then if the charges by the remitter is selected as R, okay, so the commission, the Swift fee, or if there are intermediary banks which are charging $10, $20, whichever bank gets involved, everything will get passed on to the remitter only. However, your bank can still charge you a flat fee because many a times banks do not disclose, but they keep a fee of $10 to $20 as a Swift deduction. That's random. It's their income. It's not their cost. So they just keep that as a charge. That is the only charge that you will have to bear. Otherwise, in terms of realizing money. But yes, FX would be there when you convert it to rupee, when you convert or you have any other FX, GST on FX will be yours only. It's just the correspondent bank fee that is determined based on our share and bank.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kanuk Chadda.
Yeah, hi. Very good morning. Thank you so much for very informative session what you shared. Just wanted to know, you mentioned about EFC. So does BRISKPE offer EFC account?
No, it's only banks which can offer EFC account. However, we credit in rupee as well as in EFC account both. So even if you are using my solution, you have an option to receive either in EFC or in rupee account, whatever you hold. In case of EFC, we directly transfer to your dollar account. We do not provide FIRC because FIRC is provided at the time of foreign currency conversion. So if I'm giving you dollar credit to your EFC account, then I just transfer and give you the settlement advice. I do not give you FIRA because then you will be converting with your banker, whether it is ICICI, SBI, or HDFC.
But then in that case, the charges will be the same. Eventually, because like what you mentioned, basically banks will, the conversion charge and all of the charges, the bank eventually will minimize.
Bank will eventually take those charges,
So I
definitely.
will not save on the benefit of BRISKPE.
You can only if you are getting the credit in EFC through
Yeah.
BRISKPE, the only benefit that you have, again, there are business model and use cases, and we'll be very open and frank with you. It's not that मुझे अपना माल बेचना ही है आपको. So it's like if you are incurring repeat Swift fee and you have multiple payments coming in that case, you should use my local collection capability because then Swift fee is not getting incurred by you.
So can you just explain your local collection capability once?
Local collection is like your firm. I'll just read a brand name that is there on your background, Recure.
Remedium. Yeah,
Yeah.
Recure. Yeah.
Okay. So if your sorry, that is too small, so I was able to.
Remedium.
Okay, so
Yeah,
if
that's a company.
Remedium onboards with us, they register their EFC account or INR account with us, and then they choose that, okay, my customers are in US, UK, Europe, or Dubai. So then we issue you a Dubai-based account, which is AED account in Dubai. We issue you a US account in US. Now, when your customer makes the payment, they use local payment rails because it is a local account, just like NEFT RTGS. They will use ACH in US. They will use SEPA in Europe. They will use FPS, a faster payment settlement system in UK. So that is the advantage. So wherever your customers are, you can request for a local account. We have 7 currency local accounts as on date. Rest all comes on Swift. So if you have to receive the money in Swift only, I and bank are no different.
Okay, perfect. Now we also do trade with Russia, and we have our account with Saber Bank in India.
That is the best you have.
Okay, so but do you also have like a local account in Russia?
No, not
No.
today.
Okay, perfect. That is one. Okay, second is how about if most of our payments come through LC at site. So
Right.
what do you accept LC at site?
No, so in case of LC, again, what we can facilitate, I'll just mention. Any payment wherein documents or instruction are being sent by you to the counterparty, you can use our services because it's a practical thing. When you submit a document under LC to the bank attaches their covering letter and they will always mention the account held with them, not with us. So whenever a document goes to the bank, they will mention their account detail. So under LC, if there is an advance coming, then for that advance, you can mention the account details that we have provided to you. And you can give these FIRC for the advance to your banker when you submit the documents under the LC to your bank. Alternatively, if it is a non-LC transaction, wherein bank is not handling the document, it's a direct dispatch case. You are dispatching the documents to your party directly. In that case, also you can use our services. So all advances and direct dispatch cases, you can use our services. Otherwise, bank is controlling the flow under LC or document dispatch case.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kanuk. Mr. Rajiv. Yes.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
So basically, the payments are routed like the SWIFT. It is the bank-to-bank payments, right?
Absolutely.
So is it possible कि जो customer है, like African customer है, तो other than the bank, he can use alternate way, like just Western Union.
Okay, you have identified a very critical point. See, remitter is free to use any mode
Okay.
that they have in their geography. But for
Okay.
you, it becomes very critical which route you are using.
Right.
Western Union and all are not regulated trade payment routes. Western Union
Agreed.
was designed and developed for retail payments, P2P payments. So
Exactly.
all you are receiving payments through Western Union, you
Hmm.
need to be very clear with your counterparty. You have to provide me FIRC for that, because Western Union may be using their own banker in India, or they may have done tie-up with someone else. Say
Hmm.
they might be settling through Yes Bank, Indusind Bank, or someone else. You need to be
Hmm.
very clear that you provide me FIRC. If you do not
So
provide,
basically, FIRC is not possible. Reason being, it will not be transferred in the company's name. It will be transferred in the personal name.
yes.
So actually, it is
So
not
then in the
authorized by
contract,
the RBI.
yeah, then in the contract, you have to get this mentioned. So
Okay.
that was one of the point we discussed earlier during the presentation, that you mentioned it in the contract itself upfront, that you are making a sale to say XYZ Limited, but the payment will be made by this person, and have the relationship mentioned. You have to safeguard your interests. See, we all understand we are doing business. Our primary objective is to get the money. But after
Right.
getting the money, we need to take care of the local compliances. So we have everything mentioned in the contract. They may
Okay.
Africa is a major challenge, but you have this mentioned that okay, this person is a proprietor, they have a liquidity challenge. So this individual will be sending through Western Union, any other mode. See, you will always get FIRC in individual name, because whether
Okay.
it is Western Union, Flywire, Revolt, or such players which do not have a payments license for trade, they
Hmm.
still use the bank, and bank can provide them the FIRC document, but they have to
Okay.
mention it correctly. If you are receiving through Western Union, it becomes very critical that remitter mentions that he is making a business payment to you and what purpose code should be mentioned. Because in this case, I'm giving you an example that your
Okay.
counterparty makes the payment, you receive the payment also, but
Right.
FIRC says gift.
Okay.
Now, if the payment processing bank is Ratnakar Bank or IndusInd Bank, which are typically banks with these entities, they
Uh,
will not entertain your request. You can keep breaking your head on their wall that boss, this was a trade payment, this was not a not a gift. They will say this is what we inform. This is the information we got from Western Union. You go and get it corrected, and that will never
okay.
happen. So
Well,
whenever you are receiving from alternate route, be very clear with your counterparty. This is the purpose code I want. This is how I want.
okay.
Or
Okay.
you treat it as that kind of payment, forego your export incentives. That is the only regulatory option available with you. That
Okay.
you write that off, take it
Uh,
ahead.
इसके इसके अलावा कोई अल्टरनेट रूट है कि वो बैंकिंग चैनल, क्योंकि बैंकिंग अफ्रीका में बैंकिंग के पास जो है वो फॉरेन का करंट चल रहा है।
सर, हमारा
तो
एक
इज देयर एनी अल्टरनेटिव रूट?
हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं एक सॉल्यूशन पे, लेकिन अफ्रीका की जो लोकल करेंसीज है वो बहुत कॉस्टली आ रही हैं.
राइट।
दैट्स द रीजन वी हैव नॉट गॉन लाइव. बट
हाँ।
टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, मान लीजिए अगर मेरे पास जो पार्टनर मेरे को मिला है, वो कह रहा
हाँ।
है कि मैं 4% चार्ज करूंगा. सो इट्स लाइक
हाँ।
$1,000 इक्विवेलेंट टू 90,000 रुपी. अगर आपका रेट है, तो आप उस पर
हम्म,
4% लोड करके उसको दे दो कि भाई तू अपना केन्या की लोकल करेंसी में देगा, नाइजीरिया की
हाँ।
लोकल करेंसी में देगा, तो
ठीक है।
ये है लोकल में दे दे. तो वहां पे वी
राइट।
वर्क विद आवर पार्टनर, एंड वी
राइट।
कैन गिव यू अ डॉलर इनवॉइस, डॉलर FIR, एंड सेटल.
हाउ इज द प्रोसेस? हाउ द कस्टमर कैन पे?
They will get a local collection account in their geography.
ओके, सो दैट मीन्स द कस्टमर विल पे इन लोकल करेंसी विदाउट इन्वॉल्विंग द बैंक?
Then they will inform the bank.
ओके।
They will do inform the bank because they are making a local currency payment.
हाँ।
But funds will come to us, and you will give the disposal instruction, because we are regulated in India. So we do not
हाँ।
rely on Western Union. It is a local account in which credit came in. So you will tell me for what purpose the credit has come in, and you have to
No,
give me the.
if they are putting the local currency, how we will get the payment? Whether we will get the payment in US dollars, or we
Yes.
will get the payment?
So it will get converted by my payment partner. So that's where
Okay.
that charges that these guys mentioned that they charge 4%. They will
Okay.
convert the local currency over there. So okay, so you think of it, same payment aggregator sitting in Zambia, same payment
हाँ,
aggregator sitting in Nigeria will take
okay.
the local currency convert
Right.
it to USD and send me USD.
Okay.
And then I'll convert in rupee and give it to you. But
Okay. So
local
that
currency
that
to
that is
USD convert
legally
udhar
valid.
kar.
That
It
is
is
legally
legally,
valid.
absolutely legally valid.
Legally valid.
Yes, yes, yes. Anything
Okay.
coming to me is legally valid. If
So
it is not
you're
valid, we
charging.
will not accept that payment. If there are any concerns, we will not accept the payment. We will reject the payment.
Okay. So you're telling me the 4% charges are the flat charges, or there is
We have
some
not gone
limits?
live. So I'm being very open and frank. We have not gone live with any Africa partner because Africa partners are quoting exorbitant charges. So
Right.
until unless our customers are ready, like I'm giving on dollar, I'm giving flat less than $2,000, $16 pricing, less than
Right.
$1,025 because I have negotiated a rate with my partner. So everything is baked in. But if
Right.
these Africa-based fintech are giving such high charges and not being accepted in the market, no point we
Mm-hmm.
spend time over there. So that is an assessment which is going on, but we are happy to evaluate. I think Saurabh will be happy to pick that up. Which country you are receiving from, what is the
Right.
volume and all, and we can set up a direct connectivity with that partner also.
Okay. Good.
So, Mr. Rajiv,
Thank
we
you.
would suggest you to send us an email so we can
Right.
connect you with the team.
Yes.
Now, we would like to invite, because we have the last 10 minutes, so I will ask the participants to ask their questions quickly. Mr. Ramesh, okay, he has left. Mr. Kanu,
Hello.
Yeah.
yes. Okay, Mr. Ramesh
Hello.
is there. Yes, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Sir, one question I missed out. In bill of entry, if we bring any material as a sample basis or free of cost for testing analysis purpose, in that case, whether bill of entry should be mentioned the wording as a sample or free of cost, then only bank will close
It is
the
necessary.
transaction.
It is necessary. It has to be mentioned as a sample free of cost.
If it is missed out, the most of the time that courier FedEx or DHL they are not bothered about that much. Then we have to again fed up to amend the bill of entry, then resubmit.
So in reality, if your banker is trusting you, it's possible, pretty much. You just tell them that this has been missed. Again, bank will trust you depending on the value and all. And as you are saying, these are small value. Uh, Everything is possible with regulator as long as we are doing a genuine business and we are asking for condonation and saying that, okay, we made this mistake or our partner made this mistake. Please allow us to write it off. Write it off is the simple and last resort for you if there is an error that has happened.
Recently, one case I got the name of the supplier. There is only one alphabet is wrongly mentioned by the filing bill of entry person. For that purpose, also bank is refusing to
Are you
make the
dealing with a
payment.
public
And
sector bank or private sector bank, sir?
no, private bank, sir. No, I'm working in private company, sir.
Okay.
So
And
we get the correction request from the bank. The name of the supplier is missing by one alphabet.
hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
that is also mandatory means to do correction.
See, again, operations is an aspect wherein operational error, again, in any of the organization, not a lot of leeway is given because it can lead to any extent of trouble. So, in operations, it is always dependent on the person how objectively and in detail they are looking at the issue. If they are fine with it, they can take a call. There is no hard and fast rule that because of that one alphabet, bank cannot take that call and not close. It is possible. It can be done. You just have to convince your banker. Otherwise, last resort is okay. हो गई गलती correct कर दो.
Now, I would
Thank
like
you.
to call Mr. Kanwa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have tie-ups with 7 different countries, wherein you can open a account
Local.
in that country.
Yeah.
Our customer can make the payments in local currency into that. So what
Correct.
all countries are there? Can you just specify?
Sure. So this was a core sales pitch which I missed making. I was just listening to Pratik ji that don't make your sales pitch. So we offer this collection capability in USD, Euro, GBP, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, Singapore dollar, and Dirham, Dubai, AED.
Okay, so if my customer is in, for example, in Bangladesh, they
They
make
have to
payment
make
to
a
us in
SWIFT payment.
USD.
They will have
So
to make a
they
SWIFT.
will make a SWIFT payment. You will have one account in US in
Yes,
which you will store the USD and from where you will transfer it to us.
that's right. That's right. So
That's
anywhere,
how the
absolutely.
transaction is
So
going to be.
these seven currencies, if your counterparties are living in these geographies, then only they have access to local payment system, right? Then they can make a local payment. Anyone else who is not in these geographies, they have to remit by way of SWIFT.
Okay, so another, if I have a customer in Dubai, in UAE,
You
so
should not
from
invoice
there,
them in USD. You should invoice them in AED. Because if you invoice them in USD, then they have to convert AED into USD and then remit USD. So why to go that route? You can invoice them in AED. AED and rupee are fairly stable. These are not that variable. So you invoice them in AED, they will pay you in AED
no, but
locally.
AED is linked to USD. So if USD will go up, AED will also go up.
Rupee will also. So most of the
Okay,
currencies, if you see non-USD currency, non-GBP, non-Euro currencies are pegged fairly with rupee. So if AD depreciates, rupee also depreciates. If JPY depreciates, rupee also depreciates. So end of the day, as a natural
difference
hedge,
will not be
act as
more.
a
Yeah.
natural hedge. Yeah,
So you are saying that if the company is in UAE, then I should bill them in AED.
AED.
It will be easier and cheaper for them to make a AED payment to
Absolutely.
you, and you will remit back to us in AED, which will get converted into INR and come into our account.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And similarly, if your party is in UK, you bill them in GBP. So that's why I said, see, historically, because banks were only dealing, USD became as a sole benchmark. Now, as US-India trade tariff have taken a new low, we have to explore the alternatives. How do we de-risk ourselves? Why? And many a times, what happens? European customers they remit USD, they convert GBP to USD, so they pass on that cost also to you sometimes. So why to get into that route when their local currency is already available?
ठीक है, got it. Done. Thank you.
The last question we have to take for today's meeting, Mr. Anmol. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Anmol, are you there?
हेलो सर।
Hi.
Yes.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरा एक सऊदी का बायर है
Mm-hmm.
जो हमें वहां से यूएसडी में पेमेंट करता है, बट जब ये पेमेंट हमें हमारे अकाउंट में रिफ्लेक्ट होती है बैंक अकाउंट में, तो वो हमें आईएनआर में रिसीव होती है। और जब हम उनको क्वेश्चन करते हैं तो वो हमें वही स्विफ्ट कॉपी मेंशन करते हैं, बोलते हैं मैंने तो यूएसडी में पेमेंट किया है। तो इसका क्या रीजन है?
So do you have an EFC account
यस सर।
with which bank?
यस बैंक।
Okay, so most likely the remitting bank and Yes Bank do not have the swift communication. This happened with a lot of my customers at Citibank also. So what happens if Saudi's customers bank is X, and for India-based settlement they have done tie-up, for example, with ICICI. In fact, from that INR receipt you can identify that which bank's NEFT or UTR number is there. So with the initials, you can identify which bank is doing credit. So most likely that Saudi's bank India settlement tie-up is only with one of the India-based bank, and they can only credit in rupee. How you can avoid it? There are two possible ways. You can use our solution. One way, uh, do commercial comparison if we work out to be better. Second option, do not give your rupee account details. If you do not give your rupee account details to the beneficiary, the funds will never come in rupee account, because then the remitting bank will identify USD settlement route automatically. But when that happens, you need to be sure with your counterparty who is bearing this intermediary bank charges or correspondent bank charges. Because if there is no settlement route with them, they will send the funds, Saudi bank will send it to some US bank, and then US bank will further figure out how to settle the USD in India. So mention your EFC bank account details only, never mention your INR bank account detail in any of the documents. Second thing is agreeing on the SWIFT charges, and Alternatively, you ask Yes Bank that who is your intermediary bank for USD, and tell. So first option is BRISKPE. Second option is never give your INR bank account details and agree on charges. Third option is you ask Yes Bank, give me correspondent bank details through which you receive the money, and tell your remitter clearly that while making the payment, you have to select this correspondent bank only. Then the remitter's bank will identify, okay, the funds can go to this A or B bank only, and then it will come to Yes Bank in your EFC.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you everyone for making this session more interesting, interacting for day. I would like to thank Induji for giving us the insights on the new digital practices for receiving the payments. We also are going to have another sessions on the different topics related to the payments one day with the BRICS, and my team will keep informing you about the upcoming sessions. So with this, I would like to thank BRICS, the entire team, and Indunath for coming for this particular session. Thank you, Induji.
Thank you everyone for taking time out or joining. Thank you for inviting me. I would like to say, please explore us. If we are not able to solve 100% of your problem today, eventually one day we will solve. At least we will make a start from somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day to you.